Welcome everybody to the Crit Files, your once weekly, not once weekly, your follow-up podcast to the Hint
Recording
in at
stopped.
the End podcast. You motherfucker. Whatever, we're here. What an interesting episode. I
just feel like we need like some kind of like yearly RP award show and just give it to Alex every year, because every time I listen to him do an NPC, I'm just like, fuck, man,
dude, he's so quick on his feet. He's so quick on his feet, man. Like, he was at one moment like very convincingly Judge Judith, then very convincingly Simon's parents,
and my mother,
like, dude,
like Ace's mother.
Yeah, dude. And I remember I was just like, I was so floored when you were just like went into Simon's parents. You're like, no, son, we are going to do this if it means that you're not boiled in salt water. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't they be like that? You know?
Every week I'm just I love Alex's RP. It is just so good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah,
man. I have to say that Dash, your pitches to the judge of qualifiers was hilarious.
Yeah.
What if the ship sinks? What if we?
This was a great episode. I never thought that us as a group would make it to the sort of courtroom drama that you see on TV so often, but here we are. How many groups out there have made it to the courtroom? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. They either escape or try to kill everyone. Or...
What's interesting is if we weren't so thorough and deliberate during the quiet year, would there even be a court of which to hear this?
Just
that was our first
execution.
Mistake. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd all know who to blame for that. I'm pretty sure I said the courts were a thing, but I think so. I remember thinking I was so fucking clever when I said that too, and here we are.
Yeah, with the quiet year, it really gave us that sense where this is a place we want to make sure we can come back to. We want to make sure, we don't burn any, all of our bridges, because if the same circumstance happens in most D&D sessions, right? The thing to do is you just move on to the next town. You escape from prison and you leave.
But this is like our hometown.
You have to make it right somehow.
Oh, dude, and that really cooked me up. And it was such a small detail because it ultimately didn't mean anything, but I was chewing on it so much about what it meant when you were like, oh, you get a vision of this woman, like you see her face and her warmth quilting with your mother. I was like, oh, fuck you, dude. Like, it was kind
Ace
of
still gonna kill her though.
No. Oh, well. All right. If
no.
Well, I thought you were talking about me, but while you got like it was kind of like serendipitous that I got to go last because like as soon as the first person started going, I was like, I've got a speech and I have to write this down. So I started typing.
Nice. Yeah.
I got like 2 fucking pages of speech here.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I was definitely listening and I was like, this is amazing, but I gotta pee so bad. So I missed the crescendo.
No, I can't remember when he left, but it really, as I was reading, I was like, oh, this is basically the same thing, paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. But I had to get it all out on paper because
it was fabulous.
This is the exact thing I wanted to do with Ben since sort of like coming back, like give this big speech about, like Melora's light and all of this sort of stuff. And this was my chance to do it in a fucking courtroom to a judge, an official, a person who is important.
It matters.
Bay. Yeah, exactly. So I took my chance. And when Alex was all like, you got, you can ask somebody to speak for you. You can do it yourself. I was like, all right, typing. Here we go.
I really wanted Gould to speak for somebody, but I'm glad that she got a chance at the end.
Yeah. And what a perfect way too. Like, and I even wanted to when they're all talking about like, oh, maybe they can have some guards. I'm like, motherfucker, we are the boys of Quilton Bay.
Yeah.
Just fucking release us on our own recognizance and we'll go on our word, like not that some of us are our word is worth more than others, which, clearly is one of us is plotting how to make the ship sink within a week of leaving.
Leave no trace.
Which is funny. It makes me think of like, like Interview with the Vampire or like the Anne Rice vampire books when they're coming over from the old world to the new. And just like, feasting on rats, killing people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Dash's vampire is definitely like an Anne Rice style vampire in my mind.
Yeah, for sure, dude. She did it right.
Yeah. Hit a real low point with Valen.
Eat rats.
I feel
Hey.
bad. I had to like metagame a little bit when Dash got up to go and grab his laptop charger. I like the lawyer came and I was like, "Oh fuck, dude, this is your chance. You should ask for help. You know, you should be like, bring me a person or whatever." And I was like, I had to tell Dash in our secret chat on Zoom, like, "Hey, you should think about this because maybe there's something. I don't want us to get to the end.
Well,
and, have to fight again with you exhausted."
when Dash first said, "Is the lawyer still there?" I was thinking, "Oh no." Like, is he
Right.
he gonna try to drain him or?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I was thinking
that's
like,
where I thought you were going for sure.
I was thinking of trying to like use my sort of like message like thing that I have with the spirits that haunt me to like, hey, can we convince the guard or somebody to come closer and then Dash feast? But I don't feel like that would have done us any favors, you know?
No, that
Unless you
that
kill
would-
them, in which case, like again,
No, that's
helping.
why I was thinking like, oh yeah, I could just like eat like a rat or something, because I mean that would technically work, and that kind of avoids the whole feeding on my friends thing.
I mean, Ace
I
was
think I
up
was
for
immune.
it. Like, yeah, Ace would have been okay with giving, a little bit of blood for the group.
Yeah, I don't know if Ben's blood would work. You know, he's
Yeah, I was reading the ability on that. And the undead nature, I think, prevents you from satisfying it.
right. Yeah, so I'm safe. Sorry, guys. Like, it also made me kind of sympathetic to his situation. You know,
Hey,
I go ahead.
are we still recording? Because it doesn't look like your computer's moving.
It's just moving really slowly.
Okay.
But yeah, I can see the numbers moving, and
Okay.
I don't know. Is there a way
You
to
just
zoom in on
have
Zoom?
it zoomed out really far.
Yeah.
Like
here,
your sound
check
wave.
this out. Yeah.
No, I believe you. We don't need.
No. Fucking check this
All
out, bro.
All right. Show me your sound wave.
No, look. As far as like Ace, like
There you go.
I spent the day
I feel better.
like thinking about like how he would handle it, and his like main thing would be like he doesn't want his friends to like get in any trouble, and he considers himself like the leader
Yeah.
of the group, and he needs to like take the fall for this.
It's very noble of you.
He's gonna make a list of everyone that he thinks.
Oh yeah, dude.
See, that's the
Fucking
thing,
Arya
like-
Stark style, dude. You're gonna fucking whisper your
So-
list to yourself when you go to sleep.
It's been super sweet, like all this, taking responsibility and saying, "No, guys, I got this," kind of a thing. But then you say to the judge,
Nah, I'm gonna.
"You're on my
murder you."
list. I'm gonna kill you when I'm done."
Dude,
The bad thing that Ace did was that he got you guys incriminated with him.
Yeah.
Right. He wants to go do crimes, but only he pays the price.
And that was the thing, we're talking about thinking about what we're gonna do, and I know that Ace really wanted to take responsibility, but so did Ben in a way. Like I had this idea of how Ben was going to be at the start of this thing, and it was like lawful good, this idea that there was an order to things, and I was going to try to and not the young Ben, but like the current Ben, and even though he's sort of dealing with this like sort of deathless nature, this undead thing that's going on, like I really wanted to be able to bring peace to the dead, and here I am, and I wanted to be able to offer the living second chances. And so here we are with two dead people on our hands, and I don't think that was necessarily a big problem for Ben, but the idea of not being able to help put them to rest, the idea of sort of like the unequivocal taking of life, that kind of didn't sit very well with me. And that's why I was willing to sort of take the fall too.
Same
this
with
idea
Simon.
that I could take the blame for it and Melora was going to protect me. And I liked that Simon was like, wait, or not Simon, Caleb rather, like, where is this coming from? I've been trying to fucking hint at this thing the whole time. We even talked about it in another Crypt Files.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier kind of where your character was headed.
Right.
Yeah, you guys
because Dash went the opposite.
right.
Dash
I do
went
remember
from
that now.
uber religious to not.
Kind of a selfish brick.
Yeah. And I went from not to, and I'm not going to say I'm uber religious, not in the slightest. That's not that. And I don't, and I think Ben's version of religion, especially Melora, would clash violently with the church, especially the Church of Quilton, which is why I was really willing to take a stand in court and say these types of things like, I don't recognize your jurisdiction. The light of Melora had left Quilton Bay when we left. And now you're going to fucking send us away for another 3 years? What happened the last time you fucking did that? This town is on its last fucking legs, you idiots.
More or less, that's what you said.
Well, I should have just said it like that. It would have made my point more clear. Instead, I tried to type it out while everybody else was talking. But yeah, God, the whole thing, I just kind of wish, and I loved how everybody's sort of personality in the sense of like what they were willing to accept, what they were willing, and the ways in which we were willing to accept certain things came out, like especially Dash, like, oh, okay, so we're gonna go on a slave ship. Yeah, you may as well be setting us free. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's basically where Valen landed, was that he wasn't gonna let anyone tell him what to do ever again, especially after being religious and being like part of the being a conscripted soldier. He was like, no matter what, I will not serve any punishment for this. I am going to get out. Yeah, I'll go on your prison barge, sure.
Yeah, you're on a prison barge with me, motherfucker. I'm not in here. I'm not in here with you.
You're in here with me.
Which kind of begs the question, like, what would Valen do if the boat did sink and we all,
would you make us all?
Well, no, I'm not even wondering about that. But like, let's say the boat goes down and we all get onto the desert island or whatever, right? Like, what's Valen's goal? To just go live your life, or
do it? I'm trying to live my own life. I'm trying to do my own thing.
Gotcha.
Free of any kind of constriction from any authority, because I am the authority now. I'm my own authority.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay,
I'm the captain now.
I am the captain now. Yeah.
Because I was kind of thinking,
and I am going to do that on the prison barge. I'm going to Somali pirate this thing.
Because I was kind of feeling like Ben's sort of motivation, it's still sort of being discovered, but I became married to the idea of finding the Rangers, putting them to rest if they were dead, and maybe even bargaining or dealing with the spreading mists. Since we were sort of responsible for that, and I don't feel guilty in the sense of the bad things that I don't even think that the spreading mists is doing the bad things personally, but I thought like maybe we could help Quilton in that way. And so that's where Ben was really leading, like, why put us on a prison barge when we could be useful in this other way that is clearly detrimental to the town and allowing the Drescues to press their sort of military advantage in as far as the influence on the town goes. Fuck the Drescues, first of all, but
I'm gonna murder them all. It's fine.
If we gotta do that, I don't know if Ben would mind.
I think Ace is going down a real kind of Punisher arc, where he like wants to punish himself and he wants to punish everybody else.
Yeah, you seem to be making a list like Arya from Game of Thrones. You're like, the Hound, Alien Pain, Cersei Lannister. You're just like naming off all these people every night before you go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm definitely going down that kind of path.
The only place that Arya fucked up was not making sure the Hound was dead. What a weak bitch. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm definitely going down. I'm thinking more Punisher for Ace. Like, I think
we all saw the Thomas Jane
Punisher.
We all saw the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, right? That movie goes fucking hard, dude. So if you want to be that guy, for sure, we will all beat the ass of that Russian in a striped sailor outfit when he comes into the house.
Yeah, I think that's the path that Ace is going to eventually go down, where he's going to have all of these mixed emotions about like his own worth and like where, like what he feels like he deserves, but also go after everybody else too.
I fucking love that. I'm kind of glad that like Ben's sort of fate is married to that a little bit, Like Ben doesn't quite have a lot of the memories of his old life, but he has the memory, or at least like the heat of that relationship. He's got like the shape of it, and that's important to him because he doesn't have much else from back then. Like,
yeah, I love
like you have the familiar feeling, the
like
emotion.
Try to support like Ace, even though he's kind of lost it a bit, and he's out there. But
I love this.
Try to like ground him. I think that's great. Like, I really enjoyed all of that prison talk.
Yeah, dude. And we kind of joked about this. I don't think we talked about this on the last Crypt Files or not, but like I realized shortly after one of them, it was like, oh wait, like you've taken the place of Duroc and we're both, I'm a dwarf, you're a halfling again. So it's like the Duroc Ren relationship, except you're the Duroc and I'm the Ren. Like I've got
100%.
I've got the
unaware of
relationship.
all of the world that's going on.
Yeah. It's just
I'm just like, everything is fucked.
Yeah, what a twist of dude. Yeah, I'm excited for that relationship for sure.
I gotta say, Alex, kudos to you for making the stakes super high. For me or for Simon, because having the weight of his family's business tied to this, and knowing the personalities of his friends makes for very high anxiety in Simon. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
He's trying to think of, okay, how do I get my friends not to screw up my family's life?
Right.
And, dude, and I wonder if that pushes Simon in a new way.
It could. We shall see. But at least through the court, he kind of along the lines with what Ben was saying, like you were facing the facts, so to speak. And Simon feels kind of the same way, but different motivation. For him, he's just used to following the rules. Like that's, he wants to do good by authority.
Well, because you wanted to be a cop.
Yeah. And so
one of the cool cops, but
yeah. And instead he killed a couple. So
you don't know what we're dealing with out here. Jerry's got ass poison. I still laugh my ass off whenever I think about that.
I was spending a lot of time trying to figure out, the trajectory to take from the previous episode and kind of like how we can use that to jump into, some different ideas or at least give you, options, choices that were interesting, it felt like they had weight.
So like we've all DM'd here, and presumably everybody listening, maybe you have as well. Like it felt to me as though this outcome, and again, this could be the illusion of being on the player side of things, but it felt like this outcome had the most weight, and not in a negative way, but it felt like this was like a clear sort of way to get us out of being boiled alive in salt water without having to pound rocks until we died, etc.
I mean, very, very much crafted so that we can tell the story we want to tell, right?
And because
put you in a place that is going to be away from here, but that we know what will happen on the prison barge. The things will happen where you're going to have more freedom than simply putting in 3 years of work. But I wanted to give you the idea too that if you do want to escape, and I think we'll touch in this next episode, that there's different consequences to that. If you want to just leave the town without submitting to the punishment, then the town will label you as criminals. There'll be rumors that spread. There'll be different reasons. Different things will happen because of that.
We could uncover that during the game, but I'm really interested in what the rest of the players think about that. Like,
because I don't want to force these choices for you. You always have the options, but definitely putting into place things like the guards wanting to kill you, so you didn't escape at least from the prison.
Yeah.
That was something I came up with. It's like they're going to try and escape from the prison. What do I do? It's like, oh well, have it be that the guards want them to do that so that they can murder them, so that they get their revenge.
That threw me for a loop. So what do you guys think? I mean, are we going on this prison barge?
Well, we got one day to not.
We are.
I mean, Ghoul brought us on, and I'd be interested to know Ghoul's standing on this.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the night with Ghoul.
Like, for sure.
Ghoul
like,
sit you guys down for a conversation for sure.
Right. Like, see, and that's the thing with Ghoul. Like, and I see, this is another weird thing. I have a weird connection with Ghoul because, like, when we were playing the Quiet Year, I was the one that introduced the outside adventurer, and of course, it wasn't Ghoul when I mentioned it. I was thinking like some fucking Duroc Drakensbane motherfucker, right? And so like now the Ghoul's here, I'm like, is this motherfucker setting us up to like flee in the night? Like she's gonna like let the guards drink too much and we all fucking flee Quilton Bay, and she did us a solid because like this is our conservative Christian small town, and she's like, get the fuck out of here and run. Or is she hoping that we honor our debts and get on board that ship and pay our dues, whatever fate may bring?
That would definitely have like a major impact on what I think happens.
Right? So if
sure.
Ghoul wants us to escape, are we escaping? Or if she wants us to get on the boat, are we doing what Ghoul wants us to do?
I think we wait to see what Ghoul has to say.
I mean, Ghoul is cool.
Yeah.
Like that's what we've established.
I think have Ghoul right being an adventurer, has been in your place before.
Yeah.
Yes,
wants
she
you
has.
to decide.
Oh, dude,
it might be of like
been there.
vicarious.
You have to make the mistakes.
Where does this fall in with the mages? Because I feel like Ghoul has been imprisoned by the mages in the wastes or something. Like she knows what's up, dude.
She's dealt with those kinds of foes before. She's every adventurer that made their way to retirement age.
Yeah, like us. From
other campaigns.
The cycle continues. Once you reach level 20, you open a tavern. A new group comes into the tavern.
That's what happens when you retire.
That's the 21st, the level 21 feature that you isn't printed.
You're a business owner.
A tavern.
Become a really tired business owner.
Oh my God!
Is this very true?
Is this the book that we're releasing not under the OGL but compatible with 5e in its own way?
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah, the level 21. It's the epic campaigns, and it's all business related.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the entrepreneur feat. Yeah,
it's just spreadsheets.
It's fucking spreadsheets.
It's so exhausting. You're like, I am one of the most powerful characters ever, but I have to sit here and figure out my taxes for the year.
And they vary depending on where you are.
Oh, damn it! I just deleted all the cells.
The west side of Quilton actually has a higher tax rate than the east side of Quilton, and it's not because
really got
just
redlining. We have redlining.
Oh my God! Yeah. Wow.
One thing we didn't get to that I'll do just as a little hint for next episode here is that Brooch comes to see you at some point.
Oh, Brooch.
I was hoping we would see him.
Confused by what happened, but all he tells you is that if you guys get out to sea, he'll be there.
Oh my God.
See, everything is
we got options, boys. We got options.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
Okay, we'll wrap this up, Dash. Thanks, though.
Okay, see ya.
Bye, Dash.
Bye.
There goes Dashiell Thompson. He played Valen Blackwood in the hit episode of the And at the End that you just listened to. And
D&D 5e Let's Play podcast.
Dude, I could bring this in for landing, but if you guys got I'm feeling really good about this script file. So that's now that I know that Brooch is in play here,
Brooch is in play.
Brooch is always in play. And I was thinking about this before we even got to the game, but the game has a way of narrowing your focus down to what's right in front of you. And Brooch never came up once. I forgot.
Was he in the courtroom?
He was in the courtroom.
Oh, fuck yes, he was, dude. What did he think of my speech?
He loved it, I'm sure.
But he's skeptical of Melora.
Well, but not you. He trusts you.
I mean, he definitely understands that, the Melora's light leaving the city is a feeling that he is seen as well.
I've said some things he's been thinking about. So with Brooch, does that mean, oh my God, this opens up so many things because I wasn't even thinking about escaping from the tavern. right? Were you guys?
Oh, you guys will have options. After this, the story will be in your hands, but it just depends on what kind of consequences you all want to face, right?
What
are
is
the
Ace
choices.
thinking? What's Ace thinking? What are we doing?
Ace
getting on that
murder everyone. I mean, Ace is in this headspace that everyone is responsible for everything that has happened to him in his entire life, and everyone needs to pay the way that he feels.
Wow.
Is there a way?
That's toxic.
He's got some pretty bad emotions going on in his soul, and I hope something happens where he doesn't just let it destroy him, but definitely as we're beginning this new campaign, that's where his headspace is. If we're gonna get real meta about it,
is there a way we get on this boat and Ace feels like less than
Ace has already
negative.
been in prison for 3 years. He thought it was going to be 6 months, but he's used to used to this shit by now.
When you said it may as well be 6 months, that fucking chilled me, dude. That chilled me.
Well, and you always hear about the stories of, and I've heard people say this, like, I'm never going back. Like,
yeah,
like that's the line that they draw, even if it means dying at the end of a pistol, like,
suicide.
And I'm curious if Ace is that way, or if he's just like, no, I'll do the time. That's like my second home now. Like,
I don't know. I honestly don't. I'm trying to figure out who Ace is, like, in every moment, and all I'm coming up with is he bears responsibility for everything that happens, but he also wants everyone else punished.
It's a huge trauma thing that you feel like you're responsible for it. Like, that's deep as fuck, dude. Because I don't view you as responsible for anything that happened that led us to court and that led us.
It was a group. Like, we did it as friends. Like,
we all fed off each other.
Yeah.
In a weird way. And again, like, I was the one that threw the first punch before initiatives really were even rolled,
Mm-hmm.
And Simon is the only one that killed people.
Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that.
That didn't happen in Ace's mind. Ace is the one who actually killed everyone.
You're the most innocent too, because we could have like backed out, but then fucking Valen himself. Just nope. Scare everybody. Like, you're the most fucking innocent one, dude. Oh my god, that shit's wild.
I like how this is turning a little bit. I'm like, me personally as Milo.
That's what made that. But that's what's
I like that
Adrian,
I have less responsibility.
That's what's making Adrian so interesting in a way, because in a way, like you were involved in every step of the situation with the decision making, but also like then your family, the Drescues, are sort of responsible in the prosecution aspect, and now they're responsible in the sentencing aspects and all this sort of stuff. And that shit, like, that really burned me up as Ben in a way, like this fucking idea that the Drescues could just say, well, the families have told us in writing, here's their fucking written statements that we wrote, but they signed, that, if they get their gold and these people pay off their debts of physical labor on a fucking prison barge, helping us move merchandise or doing whatever up and down the fucking inner channel, we'll fucking call it good after 3 goddamn years. Like, man, and that shit's like, that's got to be another level of like, this isn't even quite the same family that you left behind, but at the same time, it is, like, it is, but it isn't.
My family was like the good people who like supported like the farmers market and like made the city run, and now it's entirely different, right?
And now the Drescues are the ones that fucking keep people from leaving unless they're working for them.
Yeah.
Hey, Rhett, I don't recall. Did you have a good relationship with your mother before you left?
I would say so, man. Like, she gave me the family quilt. She placed it on my shoulders and gave me her blessing before she went, before I left.
And the new version of you, do you hold any sort of favor or hatred?
As totally meta, I have placed a fucking like deity religious level of importance on her blessing. I kind of feel as
or Melora,
but on my mother.
Okay.
Because I said when I left, I said, "Do I have your blessing? Do I have a mother's blessing to go?" And she said, "Yes." And she gave me the family quilt, which I now wear under my armor, you know. And like to me,
you're willing to give up to Simon, that prison time, man.
Dude, for sure. Let that sink in, because I do, and I place in my own head canon, I have placed my mother's blessing on par with Melora's blessing. And in fact, I would say that the reason that in Ben's mind, the reason that he survived his ordeal is because of the quilt, because of his mom's love. And so coming back, that's why I went through that whole thing of like bearing a piece of my own quilt in the burned out husk of my home, and like a mother's blessing saved one soul. My mom's missing. I don't know what happened to her. And I said a mother's blessing saved one soul, mine. Let it save another, my mom's. Like I've put her on a pedestal alongside Melora in my own head canon.
What do you think Judge Judy is going to tell you about your mom?
I don't know, but the thing that really burns me up. The thing that really burns me up is I was sort of expecting Judge Judith to sort of tell me like, yeah, she went here, and like to have that knowledge that she willingly got on her own two legs and went somewhere else, and now I'm on a prison barge. Like that adds a layer of conflict that I wasn't quite ready for, and I think that Ben is ready to pay his debts and ready to do all that, and maybe that's what I do. But yeah, that I'm not quite sure, and I'm ready to know what that's going to be.
I think it's a fun idea to think about this Judge Judith, and like she's obviously probably one of the OG Quiltners.
Yeah, I kind of got the feeling
probably knew us when we were kids and knew you when you were a kid. And so like that dynamic of judging or presiding over 4 kids that you saw grow up who are now in here because of causing deaths.
And in fact, like Alex was just vague enough that I really saw her as one of the women in the room when I was saying my goodbyes. My mother. Like that was the sort of impression that I got personally. I'm not saying that's like canon or whatever, but in the meta minute here, the Crypt Files, I sort of envisioned her being there when my mother sort of gifted me the family quilt and said, "You go with a mother's blessing, please return to me," which I promised I would, you know. And in a way, that's a promise that I can fulfill, but it's a promise that I'll never be able to fulfill correctly.
Dude, this season is so good.
Yeah. It's so fucked up how fucking good it is, dude. It's got layers on layers on layers. Like, and I've been wondering how much is that is due to us having this much experience as a group, and how much of it is related to just playing the fucking Quiet Year beforehand, right? Like that's something we haven't quite.
That setup was everything.
It made a huge fucking difference.
I think us playing together for 5 years makes a really big difference too. But I agree. The Quiet Year made a big difference.
The Quiet Year gave us intimate knowledge and investment into this town, and so now we feel like it is our hometown.
I do feel like when we were talking about the people fucking lined up in our support, not in our support, all this bullshit, like I'm like, fuck, dude, we're the boys of Quilton Bay. These people
they know us. We
were there in the Quiet Year, man. Like, you know, that shit that's so wild to me. It added a whole level to the shit that I was presenting in court, because it wasn't just for the judge, it was for the town.
I like to think that there's probably a couple of people in the crowd that are like, oh, they're the ones that discovered the calming, or you know, like they knew that kids in Quilton. We heard some kids said, but they didn't know it was us.
Right. Who did we tell first? You know, I don't quite remember that. If we
I ran and told Quinn, I think, of the forest
told my dad.
rangers.
Yeah, I think I told my mom, you know, but from
and
there,
then Valen told his mom.
Who went first? The temple, the courts, the people, the guards people. I don't know, man. Like, that's what's crazy is it was us, and they're gonna put us on trial. Like, we are the embodiment of Quilton Bay.
It's almost like the calming is more of a curse than a blessing. Like we see it as this tumultuous thing that's keeping us imprisoned, and unable to travel and explore the world. But at the same time, as soon as it opens, new people come in and
they
Quilton is not the same.
They disrupt what we had going on.
Yeah,
exactly.
Are we talking about making some red hats?
No, I'm not talking about making Quilton great again.
No, we already did that with the wall.
Yeah.
Make Quilton.
No, not at all. But Quilton was a quiet place beforehand, and the Drescues have really been sort of the driving force of change. It feels like.
Yeah.
How close is their relationship with the temple?
Yeah, they've infiltrated a lot of aspects of the town.
How much power did the Whittington side of it, aka Adrian's dad, hold over the conclave before being driven out when Ace sort of didn't fulfill the obligations that he set out to do? Man, that whole shit, that's what, oh dude, that stuff really intrigues me. There's like a novel and a half of shit in that span alone.
Yeah.
Like the Whittingtons losing power to the Drescues. Like that's the power of the time skips. That's the power of the quiet year. That's the power of all of this sort of stuff, is that there is so much to draw from and to infer from. And in a weird fucking way, like I have the least of it with my 3-year story. Ace has a shit ton. Simon has a shit ton. And I guess in a weird way, even Valen has less than you two. But
that allows for you guys to kind of build it in scene and
that's what I was sort of hoping to do. But in a weird way, it's kind of weird taking that back seat, because like that's not like remember back to season 2 of Chaotic Amateurs. That's not how that shaped up. Like Duroc was the impetus, like Duroc was the backstory in a lot of ways.
I feel like we've got a good balance, because we've got 2 characters that have a clear identity and a clear personality. And then we have 2 that are dealing with some traumas and kind of figuring out their new place in life.
And hilariously swapped roles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could keep talking about this for the next 40 minutes if you guys want, because this shit was so packed with nuance and complex sort of interactions. Like, so if you guys want to talk
there's a reason we're D&D's number 1 5e play podcast.
Fuck yeah, there is. Doesn't matter what the OGL says. Doesn't matter what situation is up with the OGL. You motherfuckers can come back to the In at the End podcast and Crit Files. No, fuck. No, they know what's up. Y'all listeners, you're here for the awesome TTRPG content. Doesn't matter what game we're playing. We could be playing,
Troika.
Hey, Milsonian Arts Council's Troika. Yeah, we could be playing that. That game would be awesome. I'd love to play that with you guys. But anyway, we could be playing Dungeon World or anything remotely related to Dungeons and Dragons.
Let's just play Haven. That's where I'm
dude. What's fucked up is how good of a name like
the Haven system
itself to RPG. You know what I'm saying? Like Alex started talking about that during the OGL debacle, and I was just like, I could see that so well. Like weirdly enough, and don't take this the wrong way, like I've never thought Haven itself the name lends itself to like a world. It is a world. It feels lived in and all these sorts of stuff. But then when you started describing it as a system, I was like, I see the Haven world and system very clearly, like, and you've had such a clear vision for it. And even though we've explored it very experimentally in things like the Traveling Festival, like, it's always felt like you had a clear vision.
Alex, I gotta say, like, you are, I mean, all of us as a group, but you're putting a stamp on it, like helping us build an actual brand. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like with the amount of work you've put into actually world building Haven and and
just 20 years of it.
Right, yeah.
And now potentially, like, if you do step out into the game mechanic building,
I've definitely been a fire stoked in me to do something interesting. Yeah, the world building aspect at least has been always just a passion, a hobby thing that I do to like go to sleep as I am just world building, because I love a consistent universe. I love a lore that is built off of other things and it is created by my players, because that's where I get so much inspiration for how to do things. It's like, oh, that's a crazy idea. How does that work? How do I give that legs in this universe?
And, you always seem to spiderweb things together in a way that is creative and in a way that I wouldn't have thought of. So kudos to you.
For sure.
But Rhett, I know you could talk for another 8 hours.
No, I could, and I know that you want me to, and this is permission to. So, I'm just kidding.
I feel like we almost need to have like an OGL like session where we just talk about it.
Oh, dude, I would love to fucking do that. If you guys want to, if you guys want to do that, let's hit let's talk about that in chat afterwards.
But, we'll do another Zoom session
because that's a whole other fucking level, and it's not even critical, right? It's just about being creators in this space. And how do you go on? What are the next steps?
Something we are all dealing with,
right? And we know that you, listener, are involved in that. So we wish you all the best of luck in these tumultuous times.
The difficulties of our JRPG.
Yeah, we're sorting that out ourselves. So meanwhile, we continue to climb, for some reason we know not why, to America's the world's number one D&D actual play 5e podcast, whatever. We are the Crit Files that right now, but we will return as the in at the end here on Monday for the follow-up. What happens after our podcast people party, adventuring party?
Okay. Do you want me to land this plane?
No, I got it. God damn it. So guys, by the way,
right now our plane is inverted and about to land in the Hudson.
Doing a fucking barrel roll. Caleb's all like, Caleb doesn't fucking see that I got the barrel roll on lock here. But anyway, guys, if you're enjoying the discourse that we're having here, you might also enjoy the discourse that we have over on our blog, the Crit Files Inbox. You can find it at dndpodcast.org or by going to dndpodcast.medium.com, where we talk about all things D&D, where you can hear the thoughts of the innkeeper themselves, or me as of recently, or Alex as of in the future. All of us may have our voices heard.
What kind of things do they talk about on this blog, Brett?
Well, as far as the blog is concerned, we talk about, I don't know, for example, the basics of strategy in terms of
you just logged in, didn't you, to just read them?
We talk about
shoulder movement.
We talk about hey,
okay, you can go to the website. It's fine. Close it out, right?
You want to hear a horror TTRPG that's not Call of Cthulhu? Why am I addicted to so Call of Cthulhu? And also Troika, Voyage Among the Crystal Spheres, whatever those are, and also some shit about the traveling festival.
And the Hateful Place.
And the Hateful Place.
Awesome.
Fuck off. I was talking about Alex.
Really curious about the traveling festival stuff.
Yeah, dude. Alex has a really cool blog upcoming as of the release of this podcast. Actually, it might be out as of the release of this podcast.
Yeah.
No, it will be. It's there. Go to dndpodcast.medium.com. Find out what Alex himself has to say about his one-shot that we ran for the last season of The End at the End. And enjoy the good times about talking about tabletop RPGs and all that bullshit. So, guys, this has been the Crypt Files. We talked for a long fucking time about the last episode of The In at the End, where it was like fucking Law and Order version. And it was awesome. It was great. Thank you all for sticking with us. We will be back in a couple days post weekend on Monday with the following episode of The End at the End, the world's number one D&D play 5e podcast. Grab your swords and keep on adventuring.
Thank you.
Let's just make sure we get on that list.